I'm Aveline and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all having an amazing day. So today we're building a house for the Eclectic Arts household that is in StrangerVille, and so this is like one of the townies, or not one of the townies, because they're like a household of townies that came with StrangerVille, just so you guys know, those of you who possibly don't have StrangerVille. So yeah, that is what we're doing today, and it's a super weird kind of house. We're building a Victorian, and it was inspired by a picture that I saw on Pinterest. So if I save that picture, I'll put it up in the corner right now. But basically, I don't feel at least like I'm very good at building Victorian houses. So when it comes to Victorian houses, I definitely need like real inspiration for them, like real life houses or drawings or something like that. So I often take inspiration for Victorian houses when I build them, just because I'm not very familiar with them, and I feel like a lot of them are also kind of strange, like just shape wise and stuff. I feel like they're just kind of weird. But that is what we're building today, and I wanted this house to look a little bit different as well when it came to the color scheme and of course the interior, because this household is kind of like, it's called Eclectic Arts. So eclectic is kind of like, it's a bit of a weird one, because with interior, it's like a mix of different styles put together. And there's a lot of wood as well. I feel like there's also a fair amount of patterns in it too, but I don't know. It's a little bit weird to explain, because it's not a style that I am personally like really, I don't know much about it, because it's like it's a weird one. How do I explain this? Like, it's not a set style. It's not like contemporary or modern or traditional interior. It's kind of like this weird mix of different styles. So it's a little bit difficult to do, but I did try, and I really like how this house turned out. It's very different from what I would possibly usually do with a Victorian house, because I feel like normally I would decorate it very like bright in the interior, maybe a little bit more traditional, maybe a little bit luxurious even, but with this one I definitely toned it down just a little bit. So anyways, the household here is made out of consists of 3 Sims. So I did write down what they were called, because otherwise I would not be able to remember. And they're called Mark Eggleston, who is, I don't think he's got a job in the game right now, but I gave him the career. I don't know why I did that in this save, by the way, because this is not my save file we're building in, even though the house is for my save file. But anyways, I gave him the career, what was it, freelance? I think he was a freelance writer. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Because they are Eclectic Arts, they're 3 very creative Sims living together. It's like their storyline is something like that. I'll tell the storyline after I've kind of gone through the different Sims. But his traits were cheerful, art lover, bookworm, and then he wants to be a friend of the world, which I thought was a little bit weird, because the other 2 got creative aspirations, so why would his one be a popularity one? I don't fully know what that's about. And then we got Leslie Holland, who works as a, oh, was it a writer or a painter in the game? I don't fully remember. One of those careers, I'm sorry. I think she's a writer. And then her traits are geek, bookworm, and goofball, and she wants to be a best-selling author, so I'm pretty sure she works as a writer already. Like, she's already been put in that career. Once you get the game and open it and stuff, she's already in that career. But I just decided to, her career is the way it is. I'm not touching it. I'm not changing it. And then we got Alice Martin, who is the brown-haired girl that was also in the StrangerVille trailer as well. She's the one that was kicking the, what's it called, the punching bag thing, or it's not really a punching bag, it's the fancy one from StrangerVille that we got. But anyway, she's the one with the braids, with the brown hair, and her traits are creative, bookworm, and music lover, and she wants to be a painter extraordinaire. So I gave her the career freelance painter as well. So 2 of them work as freelancers, while Alice, who is the blonde girl, works as a writer. So I thought it would be a little bit important to explain the Sims to you guys in case you don't know the household. Maybe you don't have StrangerVille, or maybe you do have StrangerVille and you just haven't looked into the different households yet or something like that. But we are decorating for these 3 specific Sims, and I am putting them in the save file with this house. They did They did live in another house before, but I tore it down, I think. Yes. So I decided to build them a new one. But because we are decorating for these 3 specific Sims, I thought it would be a little bit important for you guys to know their personalities before I start decorating their bedrooms, just so you kind of get a feel of their hobbies and stuff, because I was trying to make their bedrooms sort of fit their personalities. I also went through their outfits, but I have a feeling that anything other than, you know, their main outfit, their everyday outfit, I'm not sure that they actually got any clothes for in the other outfits. Like, I'm not sure that those were fixed before they uploaded the gallery or before the gallery was added to the game, because the other outfits they have are really, really random. But that might just be their style. I don't fully know. So hopefully I'm making sense right now. But I don't know. There's something really off about their other outfits. So I was kind of trying to get a feel of what kind of colors they like. Because if you haven't noticed, a lot of the townies that we get kind of tend to dress in a like the same kind of color scheme, so both with their everyday outfit but also their sports outfit and, you know, bathing suit and all that stuff, they'll always kind of stick to the same kind of colors. So I was trying to sort of figure out what kind of color scheme they went for these 3 different Sims, but I couldn't really figure it out because, like I said, it was like the other outfits didn't really fit them in some weird way. But anyways, I did still try to take inspiration from their everyday outfits for the color scheme in their own rooms though, so hopefully you guys can see that, but I'm not entirely sure because their outfits are not the most colorful either, which doesn't really help the situation, but I did try. So as for the common areas though, we're just kind of going with whatever I felt fitting for the room, and I think actually we're using a wallpaper today that I haven't used before. So that was a little bit exciting. We're using one of the ones from Vampire's game pack, and I don't know, it's just, there's a lot going on it, which is why I've never used it before. So as you can see, we're using the one that kind of has like a bat motive on it, but we're also using this other one that looks like it has some kind of flower motive on it, and I really like that one. It's just, a lot of the swatches are very bright, like very bold, so in the color at least, so I'm not really, I don't use them a lot, let's just put it like that, but I felt like it would be kind of fitting for this house because it's a little bit different. I should probably also explain that the reason this household can afford a big house like this, by the way, is because they have received, at least according to their household story, it says that they have received a large amount of money from their parents, and basically they decided to move to a smaller, more calm town so they could sort of explore their creativity a little bit. So of course they decided to move to StrangerVille, which I'm pretty sure they regretted pretty quickly, because once you start the game, Alice, the blonde one, is actually already infected. So it didn't really turn out that well for them, I'm guessing, but hopefully after you're done playing the storyline and all that, hopefully they'll have some time to explore their creativity after all. So yeah, that's basically the whole story behind this household, and we've moved on to the interior. So you probably saw with the exterior just before that the color scheme is not the most typical kind of color scheme for a Victorian house, but I was really inspired by the dormer window, I think. So I decided to go for the green and brown one because I really like that color combination, and it is a little bit different. I like how it looked on the house as well. Plus the house looks actually really pretty, like morning light. It's just kind of like, it makes the house look a little bit warmer too, and I don't know, I just really like that as well. So I kind of stuck to it even though it's a little bit weird. And I ended up using the doors and the windows from StrangerVille, of course. I think I'll be doing that for all the houses in this area. By the way, I'm only missing 2 more. Currently I am working on the Rostwell Manor house, whatever, but I'm not sure that I actually like how that's turning out, so I might scrap it and start over, but I am working on it though. But that's going to be another Victorian as well, and the last house in this area is also going to be a Victorian too, just so they all sort of fit together, and I will be using the same doors and windows for all the 5 houses, just because then they kind of fit together in the neighborhood and all of that. Like, it makes it a little bit more cohesive when you do it like that, in my opinion. I haven't done that for a lot of the other neighborhoods, But for this one, because I actually really like the doors and the windows, I kind of just decided to go for it. So if you don't have StrangerVille, these houses may not be super useful to you, but you can always download the houses and then swap out wherever the windows were supposed to be. You can put in, you know, some of the windows from cats and dogs would actually fit perfect on these houses, but also the base game houses would be perfect too. So I'm sure you can find some windows that'll sort of fit the same size as these windows. So just, I don't know, I feel like that would work, but I'm definitely mainly sticking to the StrangerVille ones, so hopefully that is okay. So for the dining area here, I was definitely struggling a little bit with the table, especially because the shape and the size of the table wasn't really fitting in with the room size, so I swapped it out with this one that is from Jungle Adventure. It takes up a lot less space, in case you didn't notice, which I was really impressed by because, I don't know, the long one just took up a lot of space, and then I tried the round one instead, and it was like, this just fits perfectly in here. Why am I not just using this one? So I went for it. I do change the chairs, or I swap out the chairs quite a lot of times. I feel like I might have cut it out already, I'm not entirely sure. I think the ones that I go for in the end are actually from Jungle Adventure as well, but other than that, in there we're using, I think the curtains are from Cats and Dogs, and then this little cabinet you can see by the windows, or actually in front of the windows for a change, even though I've said like multiple times that I don't like to put things in front of windows, but I had the space and I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't want to put in two chairs, so I decided to go for the cabinet instead, but that's from Seasons, and then the bookcases were from, I think, StrangerVille, yeah. So also, in case you're wondering, because that's one of the things I often get questions about, the, not refrigerators, what are they called? The heater things? Radiators, there we go. Anyways, those are from Vampire Stuff Pack or Game Pack, so in case you were not aware, you can get those with the Vampires Game Pack, and I just like that they add sort of a little bit of realism to their build, so when I remember to use them, I do use them. But I do have a tendency to forget that they actually exist, but I was so excited when I saw those. I still remember that. We got Vampires back in 2017, so we got them in February, and I wasn't really doing YouTube at that point. I wasn't building either, but I saw the radiators and I got really excited because it was like this random thing that didn't actually work, but it just added realism. I actually sat down yesterday and I was about to tweet something, and like just kind of random things that I want for build to buy, especially like furniture and decor things. So I was while I was building on this house actually and furnishing it, I thought to myself, why don't we have like a toilet plunger, for example? We have a toilet roll, why wouldn't we have a toilet plunger? I don't know why. Or like wall power outlets, those would be perfect. We could just have like switches here and there, you know what I mean? Like that would be amazing, for example. Or I also kind of imagined, because I had this little annoying corner in one of the bedrooms and I didn't really know what to do with it. So I was looking at that corner like, what can I put in there? Like, what can I fit in there? And I thought to myself, a corner shelf unit would be perfect right now. Why don't we have one of those? So I tried to take those corner, like the ones that stand on the ground, and I sized it down, but it didn't look right. So I really want like a proper corner shelf unit that's just hanging on the wall instead of standing on the ground. Like the ones we got from Cats and Dogs, you can size those down and then raise them up, but the items on the unit kind of becomes very small and it doesn't really look right. But something like that, I would love something like that as well. So definitely do let me know if there's like any kind of decor item for build or buy mode that you would really love to have in the game, and I don't know, really curious to hear you guys out on that. Like small stuff, small decoration stuff that you can use in build buy mode to make a house look a little bit more realistic. I'm really curious to hear you guys out on that. So if you got any like ideas, or if you thought about this before as well, do let me know. I'm really curious. So we moved on to the living room area now, or the TV area. They do have another little, I don't know what I put in there. I think a chess table, but they have this little, because there's a turret on the exterior of the house. You could probably see it on the right side, and that meant I had this little round space to do something with inside, and I wasn't really sure. I kind of tried to fit in a piano there, but it wasn't really it was too big, so I put in a chest table instead. But yeah, anyways. So their living room area is actually quite small because of where I put the staircase. But I don't know, I feel like it's okay for this household anyways. It's not like they need like a big fancy kind of living room space. And I had to put the TV up in the corner because otherwise it would be covering almost the entire window. So I wasn't really a big fan of that, so I decided to put it up in the corner instead. So the layout of the living area is a little bit weird, it's a little bit different, but I do like it. It's not something that I've done before, I think. So yeah. Now we moved on to the bedrooms on the second floor. So this is the first one of the 3 bedrooms, and I believe this one is for Alice, so the brown-haired girl with the braids, and she was the one who was creative, a bookworm, and also a music lover. I think all 3 of them are actually bookworms, which is also part of the reason why I chose to place so many bookcases around the house, because I figured if they're all bookworms, they would have a lot of books, like 3 bookworms in one house. That's surely a lot of books, you know, so there's a fair amount of them around the house. And also their home office also had like 3 big bookcases in it as well. So yeah, anyways, it was kind of like a mini library a little bit. But Alice's room, for the color scheme, I kind of tried to go for yellow, green, and then a little bit of light brown here and there, but not too much. And I stuck with the same wallpaper. I've done that in all... No, actually in 2 of the rooms, and then in the third one I'm using one of the other ones from Vampires, but you'll see that in a little bit. So I added some yellow through both the rug here on the ground, which I believe is from Laundry Day. The bed here is from Base Game, actually. I've never used that one before. I at least don't remember it. It's definitely not one of my favorite ones, but it kind of fit the vibe that I was going for. Plus, I also found these 3 paintings, so 2 of them have yellow flowers on them, and then the last one has like lemons or something on it, and I figured those were yellow too, so we're gonna go with it. The curtains as well also have some yellow on them. They are from Cats and Dogs, yes, and I also placed another chair from Cats and Dogs next to a bookcase as well, because I figured she would rather be sitting in a chair and reading rather than, or instead of sitting on her bed or whatever, so I gave her a chair that she could sit in instead. And then the second floor of the turret, she's kind of got like access to that a little bit, so I decided to turn it into a painter's room a little bit. So she's got 3 easels. I did have to move them around a little bit while playtesting the house because they weren't working for whatever reason I couldn't figure out, but they should be working just fine now, so don't worry about that. And yeah, I just figured it would be nice for her to have this kind of like creative space where she could paint, because that's what she's the only one in this household who wants to be a painter basically, so I figured she would need that space to kind of paint in. So yeah, that is her little home studio turret kind of situation. And then we're moving on to the second one of the 3 roommates, and her name is Leslie Holland, and she's the blonde girl with the kind of short hair. So her traits were geek, bookworm, and goofball, and she wants to be a best-selling author. So I figured she would need her own computer in this room. I didn't really know like how to incorporate the geek part, but I suppose she can be like a bookworm and kind of geeky about that. Like being a geek is a wide term, because you can be a geek about a lot of things, you know. If you're really into something, you're a geek about that thing, or like you're geeking over that thing. Am I making sense right now? Like, I feel like being a geek is not just, you know, liking computer games or liking superheroes or that kind of stuff. I feel like you can be a geek when it comes to a lot of things. Like, it's just having this like, you're standing something basically, like you really, really love something. So I don't really know, like I didn't really know how to incorporate that into her room, because I figured hanging up those superhero posters would not really be her thing, or I don't know, Void Critter posters or something like that. So I wasn't really sure how to do that, but I definitely tried to fit in as many books in here as possible. So she has the magazine holder right here. She's also got the suitcase thing with the books stacked on top of it. I believe that one is from cats and dogs, and I'm using it as a bedside table, so I put some plants on it and also some candles just to make it a little bit more cozy in here. She's got some books lying around the floor as well from Cool Kitchen Stuff Pack, and I believe I also put another stack of, yeah, here on her dresser there's another stack of books as well. Plus I also found, what was it, we have these kind of, they look kind of like antique books a little bit. You have to use the Ignore Gameplay Unlocks Entitlement, the very, very long cheat to actually use them unless you have already unlocked them through gameplay, but that cheat lets you just use them without having to complete some kind of career. So I found those as well. I believe I used them in her room as well, or I might have skipped them in her room and just used them in Mark's room right here. I'm not entirely sure, but I try to fit as many, you know, clutter books in her room as possible, just because I figured it would kind of fit her whole author kind of theme. So, and the third room that we're decorating is Mark Eggleston's room, and he is cheerful, an art lover, and also a bookworm, and his aspiration was a friend of the world. So I was trying to go for green and yellow in here as well, so sort of the same color scheme as Alice a little bit, but because I went for a lot of yellow for her room, I decided to turn up the green a little bit more in his room. So I know that the couch unit over there, the bay window, is not really fitting in right now. Don't worry, I am changing it, and also the rug as well. I didn't really like how that looked either, so don't worry about that. I think I was a little bit distracted while I was decorating his room. I think I may have been watching a stream or something, so don't worry about it though, we are getting back to it. But because he is an art lover as well, I figured I would have to fit in some kind of paintings here and there. So I actually went for 3 paintings that kind of fit together when it comes to color schemes as well, so they kind of tie in together? Is that how you say that? Hopefully you get what I mean, just because I needed the blue to kind of fit together in some kind of way. Like the painting above the bed was standing out a little bit too much for my liking, so I had to use another painting that also had some blue in it because the blue color was just so random. Ironically, it came out of the blue, you know what I mean? So I had to go for 2 other paintings with some blue in it, or in them as well, just to make it a little bit more cohesive, basically. So yeah, and then I forgot to actually clutter the dresser here until I was taking the screenshots, but don't worry, it is cluttered in the build, so it kind of fits with the rest of the room. Don't worry. But he's also a bookworm, so there's a lot of books in this room as well, so that would kind of fit with his personality too. And then remember, I decided to give him the freelance writer career, so he needed his own computer computer setup in his own room as well. So he got a laptop that he can work on once he gets those freelance assignments and all that stuff. So I kind of thought that he would need that, so yeah. And this is the last room we're doing before moving on to the exterior again. I think we're just gonna jump straight to the landscaping actually, which took me so long to do. I don't know, it was just really annoying. I know that I said in one of my recent videos that I wasn't going to do like a very lush kind of landscaping for the StrangerVille houses, but I kind of went there anyways, just because I basically couldn't control myself. Plus there was a lot of grass on the ground, and I don't know, it just fit the whole, that it fit the surroundings better with a lot of flowers, so I just kind of went for it. Plus I needed to add some colors that weren't just green and brown to the landscaping because the house is so green and brown. So I kind of had to add some colorful flowers, so hopefully you guys can forgive me for that, but definitely did not just stick to the StrangerVille plants. Sorry about that. So for the bathroom here, I was trying to do something maybe a little bit different. I don't know if I managed though, but yeah, I'm kind of trying to go for a color scheme that fits the tiles that I'm using. The tiles are from Vampire's Game Pack, by the way. There are 2 different ones that I just put together because I thought just using one of them looked like it was a little bit too much, so breaking up the pattern kind of helped, so that's why I chose to use both of them. And basically all the bathrooms in this house kind of look the same. I believe they have 3. I don't fully remember. Yeah, I think they have 3 though. They have 2 on the 2nd floor. So Alice has her own bathroom. I don't know why she's not my favorite. I don't have a favorite in this household, I swear. Okay, maybe she's slightly my favorite. Sorry. Sorry, Leslie and Mark. But I don't know, Alice is just really cute. But it also did fit the whole floor plan that she would have an ensuite, and then the other two would share a bathroom. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry about that, Mark and Leslie. You're gonna have to share a bathroom. They are sharing the bigger one though, so at least that made a lot of sense. But I believe they also have another smaller toilet on the ground floor, because I did put in laundry in Ellis's bathroom, and then I put in laundry in the one, or the toilet powder room, whatever you want to call that little, because there's no bath in there, so I feel weird calling it a bathroom, because you can't actually bathe in it. So I'm just gonna call it a toilet, and I put laundry machines in there too, so they can do laundry on the ground floor, but they can also do laundry on the second floor. And of course, if you don't want to play with laundry, you can just take out the laundry machines and also the hampers, and it should be completely fine. Just remember to take out those items, because otherwise it'll still count, or the game will still think you're playing with laundry. I am not personally the biggest fan of playing with laundry, but I get that a lot of people like that little bit of added realism to the game. So it's easier to remove the machines rather than, or instead of trying to find room for them in a build. So I've decided to add them as often as possible now, but you're completely free to just delete them and put in like a cabinet instead, or a shower, or something else instead. You like something else you find fitting in whatever space I put the machines in, of course. But yeah, I just feel like, I don't know, I kind of get the whole like it's easier to take them out than to find room for them. So as you can see here with the landscaping, like I said before, we are going for a big mix of different colored flowers, and I did go a little bit crazy. Not like overly crazy, don't worry. I have another build. Hopefully it's coming up tomorrow if I can manage to finish it in time. I'm not doing anything tomorrow. I am literally just gonna edit that video, do the voiceover, render and upload, and then I'm gonna record for our Let's Build on Monday, actually, which is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to build a sorority house. I hate saying that word, but because it's not very easy for me. I'm Danish, so some words in English are a little bit difficult to pronounce, basically, and that's one of them, unfortunately. But that's what we're doing on Monday, so I'll be recording that tomorrow. Hopefully I can get a face cam for that video, but there's something weird going on with my facecam files these days. It's making my editing program really laggy, so I can't actually promise. I really want to make it work. I'm gonna do my best, but I can't actually promise that that's going to happen. But I'm working on another house for tomorrow that I went a little bit crazy with the landscaping I went a little bit crazy with the landscaping surrounding the house. You get what I mean. So that should be coming up tomorrow, and if it's not coming up tomorrow, it's definitely coming up on Sunday, but I'm really planning on finishing it in time for tomorrow, and I'm really liking how that's turning out, so I hope you guys are gonna like it too. But yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with the landscaping in that house. I have posted a few pictures of it on my Discord server, by the way, and you guys seem to like it so far, so that's a good sign. But anyways, so for the backyard here, I decided to give them this little painting corner, circle, whatever, down here, because both Mark is an art lover, but also, like I said before, Alice is a painter, so I figured she would kind of like this little space down there under the tree, so she can stand there and paint while looking over the plateau or the nature or whatever. And they also have a bench where they can sit and talk or read together or something like that. And then they also have a pool, because StrangerVille is a very, very warm place, so I figured they would kind of like a pool in their backyard. So yeah, and I believe that's actually about it. I think I am also decorating something on the back porch as well. I just put a table up there with a couple of chairs so they can sit in case it's, you know, raining here in the desert. I don't know, anyways, but they have chairs and a table under one of the, or here on the back porch, so they can sit here and talk together in case it does rain, like the one time a year it rains here or whatever. They can sit here under cover and talk together. And I think that's about it. Just adding a few flowers here and there, and we're just about done. Oh yeah, I added these flowers on the house itself as well. Those are from Jungle Adventure, and I chose them in red because red and green are complementary colors, so I figured those would go really well together. And when I chose them in purple, it looked a little bit too much, like it looked a little bit freaky, so I decided to go for a red. But I thought it would be like a nice contrast to the brown and green, and I like how it looks. So, and that's about it. So if you like this build, you can download it off the gallery. My ID is AvelineYT, and you can also find it under the hashtag Aveline or AvelineYT. As always, do let me know in the comments section down below if you got any ideas for anything you want to see here on the channel. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Remember to like and subscribe and all that good stuff if you did. And I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!
All my dreams are now golden, 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 golden. I wonder where did you go? I have to know. Golden. A mirror image of my soul. I could see myself, but without the holes. I pinched my arm just to see if you could feel what I feel. We found each other right from the start. A conversation between our hearts. I wanted more, but it was hard to get through your shield. Your hair was just so golden, 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 golden. And your eyes were also golden, 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 golden. All my dreams are now golden, 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 golden. I wonder where did you go? I have to know. Golden. Maybe I am wrong, and it's only me, and you didn't feel a thing. But I can't let you go when you're still painting images so deep within my mind.